Yeah, Mikey was
You're
enjoying a good little head scratch. Yeah, well, I'm wearing shorts too, but I usually wear shorts all throughout the winter, anyways, regardless of the temperature. But I wish we could have like a side view that shows us who has joined. I don't know how to.
so far nobody. It looks like.
We've got one that just joined. Welcome,
Okay.
welcome. Jay's setting up, getting situated in his aviary.
Couldn't find my AirPods, so we'll see how this goes.
Trying to look to see chat wise.
There we go.
Oh, it looks like whoever joined left. You left Einstein inside today?
Yeah, I didn't want him to. I was afraid he'd talk a lot. Normally, if I'm out here, he tries to talk the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, the pizza, the new greenery, but one of the birds put in the water bowl. But I don't even know which thing it came off of.
Yeah. When did you get your aviary all redone?
Last weekend, and I just hadn't had a chance. The video I filmed some of on the GoPro of me doing stuff.
Uh-huh.
So it takes me a little bit longer. I was gonna try to publish it this morning, but in my spare time,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Looks good. I like it.
I think the birds will start coming here. I'm hoping. Eventually,
Yeah, I'm sure
they'll have had enough of me.
give them enough time. I'm sure they will.
Yeah, I used to keep a chair right here, but Nicole said it was gross because it would get bird poop on it all the time.
Yeah.
So I switched to the shelf. But I kind of miss the chair. Oh, there they go.
Yeah. They're slowly coming.
The quail don't care. They're all underneath me.
So if I stand there long enough, the quail jump up my feet and start pecking at my shoes.
Yeah, they don't care. As long as you're not moving.
I came in this morning and I had like 3 eggs on the ground. It's kind of funny how my females are still, like, most of them are molting, but they're still wanting to breed. I had like a zebrafinch egg, I had a Bork's egg, and it looked like a Amadina egg. I was like, can't get him to rest.
I mean, I've got a Gouldian male singing right here, even though he's molting.
My males, they've been singing like crazy. I think I posted a couple videos on Instagram this last week, my males singing. But
let me ask you this. Have you ever, I've read about it, but I've never seen it. Have you ever had a female canary that sings?
I have, actually. I had one, I thought it was a male, and then she laid an egg. I was like, all right, you're a female.
I have one that I don't think knew how to sing when I got her.
Yeah.
Was laying eggs, being normal, quiet female canary. And then I got a video of it the other day. I haven't posted yet, but she sings. It's just not as good.
Yeah.
You know, she's quieter. It's not as sharp.
Right.
Hey, Jacob.
Jacob, welcome.
There's a little delay in the chat from when you type it in to when we see what you wrote, just so everybody knows.
Yeah, we've got a few joining, so let us know who you are. We can't see unfortunately on our phones. On the computer we can, but on the phones we can't see exactly who joins. So drop your names or a hello in the chat down below and where you're coming from. We'd love to see who we've got with us. And then if you guys have any bird questions, start throwing them into the chat. We'd love to interact with you guys. And I wish it was kind of like how me and Jay are talking back and forth, but unfortunately we can only have 2 people on at a time. So drop some stuff in the chat and we'd love to answer some questions. Charlotte, welcome. You joined us yesterday. Love it.
Yeah. And we,
I did. Yeah, I watched the Notre Dame and Indiana game yesterday. Was hoping for a little bit more fight from Indiana, but that's all right. Yeah, yeah. They, play your dogs. Oh, that's right. So is the starter out for? I'm assuming for the rest of the year or postseason. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Those. What? Yeah, I was gonna say those who are on. Is the video coming through good? I know yesterday we had a little bit of buffers in the feed and whatnot. We were kind of coming in and out. So let us know if we start getting too choppy and we might have to move closer to our Wi-Fi location so it's a little bit easier flow for you guys. But yeah, throw some questions down below. Let us know what we can chat about. We're all here for you guys. So Aladdin, I wish I was there in Hawaii with you, man. I'm tired
yeah,
of the cold weather.
Aladdin's just trying to say where he's from, and it's just a brag by accident.
Yeah, exactly. We've got Texas, we've got Pennsylvania, we've got Hawaii. We're getting almost all the corners of the United States covered.
You see this male spice finch singing? He doesn't even have feathers, and he was still. So one of my actually, I have an extra bork here right now. He's right in the door, and he's a bork. Whoa, don't want to do that. He's a bork that I. Hey Beck,
joining us from Southern California. Welcome.
Yeah, he's a bork that I bred, and the lady reached out to me and she was asking about breeding him, or not breeding him, but boarding him, like for this holiday. And she's like, no, just bring him over here. But he's the one that's super tame.
Oh, nice.
Like I hadn't seen him, in months, and the minute I opened the cage, he just jumped out of my arm and flew up to my shoulder. He's awesome.
That's
so
sweet.
Zephyr's in there eating at the moment.
I thought about letting Pink Lemonade and your bird Strawberry out, but they just fly around like crazy. I was like, we'll just hang out with Mikey. He's nice and chill. He's just an old man, huh? So
yeah, my borks aren't necessarily like these ones. None of the ones in here are hand tamed, so they're not necessarily like afraid of me, but they don't come to me like yours do. Maybe I'm not nice enough.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Jake,
I never try to encourage it. I just let them do their thing.
Yeah, I agree. Jacob, thanks. Mikey, he's just hanging out here. If I pronounce it wrong, Kaskar, welcome. Looks like joined from Switzerland. Awesome, man. Very cool.
Yeah, I've never been to Switzerland. I'd love to go.
That'd be really cool.
Is there a big bird keeping culture in Switzerland?
Yeah, let us know. I'd love to hear. I know Europe. I mean, Europe, for the most part, has some pretty awesome birds and a strong captive bird population of both finches and hookbills. I'd love to hear.
Yeah, but I feel like that's all Holland and the Netherlands. I guess Germany. There's a lot of German people that do it.
Beck says the bork I got from you, Jay, is the same. He's not afraid, but since being in the aviary, he couldn't be less interested in touching me. Yeah, that does happen when you get them in with other birds. They tend to bond with the other birds. I think Pink Lemonade's an exception. I think she still wants me more than the others, even though she's paired up and mated. She's usually the first one to greet me at the door, even before Mikey, actually. So
I just have to wonder. Oh, hey, Wayne.
From the
Or
Philippines. Awesome.
Mabuhay.
Thanks for the invite,
But
Aladdin.
yeah, I think because I wonder if it's because you have Mikey that the other birds see, like, well, he goes and sits there, so it can't be that bad. Like, I don't have like a teacher bird.
I know my untamed borks, because of pink lemonade, they've tamed down a lot more. I mean, they'll come sit right next to me because she's usually crawling all over me all the time, and so. But yeah, Cascard. I feel you on that one. Jay and I, we've talked about that. We feel like here in the United States, there's a really strong bird population with our older generations, but a lot of them are starting to retire out, and I feel like we're the minority, Jay, when it comes to actually being involved in breeding and bird keeping at a younger age. So we're hoping to get this out so a lot of younger generations can pick it up, and hopefully it doesn't die eventually a few generations down the road. So keeping people interested.
Yeah.
So
I got to see you later, Jacob.
see you, Jacob.
I've got to feel a little bit better about it though. So like Alex is younger than us, Beck is younger than us. I used to say like I'm the youngest guy I know in this hobby, but that's not true anymore.
That's good. We want to
So
keep
at
it
least
that
like
way. Keep it coming.
at least
So.
that's not the. I actually think the hookbill people might have a bigger problem with it than we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean the side of the hookbill thing is like to do it. Like I'm not spending any less money than a hookbill person in here, right? But that's exactly what Wang just said. Is so it's one thing to get like a pair of zebra finches, keep them alive. Like the most expensive thing in that whole thing is the cage, right? It's a whole nother thing to do this or get like a big macaw that you got to feed fresh every day, and like more vet bills and stuff. So I think the citizen hookbill people have a bigger problem in the long run with keeping their hobby alive. Yeah, it's like such a bigger commitment to the whole thing. So.
Absolutely, I agree. Wang, I'd love to. Do you have a channel, Wang? I'd love to go follow you. See if you post much on like Goulian finches and things like that. I'd love to get to know more, especially those that are joining. If you guys have any questions, maybe some finches that you own that you're having some issues with, drop some comments down in the chat. Jay and I probably can answer most questions, and if we don't know the answer, we probably know someone who does. So.
Very interesting, Cascar. So, or I think Philippe is his actual name. The other thing, so I don't think Chris or I mean, I'm a member of the South Alabama Cage Bird Society, but like I never go to the meetings. And I don't think you're I'm in AFA and OPA, but those are that's mostly like an email game.
Yeah, so I'm not a part of any of them.
Right. Well, and I don't show. I think that's like the one big thing that people are always surprised when I say I don't do that. Like, I'm just not that into that aspect of it. Like, I think my favorite part about all my birds is like behavior stuff. It's not coloration and things like that. Like, they're all pretty to me. I don't really get the gray bird syndrome, right, or the brown bird syndrome. So, like, I'd rather have an interesting bird that wasn't super colorful than a boring bird that is super colorful. So I mean, yeah. So I don't go to shows, which means I don't really need to be in a bird club, right? I guess.
Well, and that's one of the hard parts of the hobby, right? Like true bird breeders, they understand like some of your harder to breed species aren't as colorful, maybe like your cutthroats or your shaft-tails or some of your African species. But as a bird breeder and hobbyist, I still see a lot of beauty in them, and I try to bring them in and breed them, but then it's harder to sell them too, right? Because they're not your flashy Goulian finch that everybody wants to buy, or they're in awe, and so sometimes it's harder to sell them, and so that kind of makes you not want to breed them as much, but you also don't want them to die out. You got a beautiful Goulian there in the background.
He's really curious. He keeps flying over. looking and then flying back away.
That's awesome. Kelsey, welcome from Barcelona. Thanks for joining us. Let us know if
She
you have any
said,
questions.
I talked to Kelsey earlier. So Kelsey's really interesting. I was hoping she'd make it on. So Kelsey is Scottish, but lives in Barcelona. So when she first messaged me, she was asking about keeping birds and stuff, and she started saying, the laws in Spain are kind of strict. So I assume.
I like that. Kelsey, that's where my family originates from, is Scotland. So welcome. Yep. Yes. Yeah. Let's see here. Beck has, or Kelsey, as Jay come back, I can hear him now, so I could hear you for most of that, Jay, but I don't know about those that are listening in.
Cast software too, we're live. You might see it, and then later on, you would. And yeah, there is a delay, Kelsey. We talked about that before you jumped on. There's a delay from. We tried to figure it out yesterday. We thought about awesome things. We thought maybe like a 30-second delay.
Yeah.
And then I don't know how much of a delay either. If you type something in, I don't know how much of a delay you get. All right, Beck, I know you got a question.
What do we got?
No, I'm just saying Beck could get us a question. Somebody needs to ask a question.
Can you guys hear my one of my male parrot finches singing that little trill? He's not singing it anymore because I was just speaking, but
wasn't mine to do it. 2 of the quail are good. I resolved the coccidiosis issue, but this morning, Beck, and I haven't had a chance to talk to you about it. The 2 males got into it, I guess, overnight, and one of the males unfortunately succumbed. So I'm keeping them in that small cage in quarantine because we think we had some coccidiosis when we got here, and they're on medication for that. But I for whatever reason, the 2 males, I guess they're hitting sexual maturity and they didn't want to play.
I've got a whole group of bachelor males right now from my last clutch that I hatched. I've got 6 of them. So if anybody wants any male button quail, let me know. We can ship them out to you. They're pretty hardy. I could probably ship those guys in the wintertime throughout the U.S. So. Yeah. Cascar, that's probably the same. I would say that's similar in Utah. We've got breeders, but not enough that are interested in like exhibitions and things like that. So we don't have bird shows or anything like that here. I have to travel to, 13 hours west of California or, south to Texas, things like that to hit some of the bigger exhibitions or conventions that they have, just because in Utah there's not enough people that are interested in it or have enough birds to make it useful. So
can you hear my canary going crazy?
I did, yeah.
Beck, it was just a really bad head injury that wasn't going to be curable, unfortunately. It was a bummer. But the other 2 are totally fine. I don't know if they both did it to him, or
but
I still don't know if the one is a hen or a male yet.
Yeah.
Oh, Bob, you're breaking up a little bit for me now, Chris. Yeah, you're getting choppy. But Bob is going out to Hawaii, huh?
Sees you, man. He's going to Oahu, so.
Yeah, that's what Aladdin says. He is coming to see him.
Heck yeah, man. That's awesome.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, that's way cool.
I got to get out to Hawaii. I've been to 48 states. I'm only missing Hawaii and Alaska. Good bird watching in Alaska, not good bird keeping, I would guess. Certainly not outdoors.
Yeah.
And I really want to get down to Australia too.
Andrade.
Yeah, Kelsey,
Awesome.
that tracks a lot of places in the world. It's kind of finch keeping is like an old man's hobby, kind of. But you know where else it's big is Italy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, Beck. And yeah, I mean, I think she might be, because that would kind of explain the males being aggressive with each other. But so I'm kind of waiting to see if she starts getting a bald spot on the back of her head from him trying to hop on. We'll see how that goes. They're definitely getting along.
That's awesome. So I'm just looking through the comments here. Andrade, glad my t-shirt made it to you. Glad your kid likes it. Let me know if you guys want anything else. I'd love to. I like sending stuff out to you guys. So those that are on, let us throw some stuff in the chat. Let us know what birds you have right now. What's your favorite bird? Any questions you have about any of your birds, we'd love to answer them, help you guys out. Or maybe like a bird that you're hoping to get in the future that you just haven't quite gotten yet. Maybe Jay or I have one, and we can hook you up with some resources or give you a little bit of info about those birds. Yeah, Aladdin, I wish I was going to Hawaii with my brother. He's going out there next month, so it's gonna be awesome.
Have you ever been out there, Chris?
Yeah, so my wife and I went out there the beginning of last year, so the beginning of 2023, which unfortunately was before Aladdin.
You're breaking up a little bit for me, Chris. I don't know if it's me or you. But Kelsey, I love that you're doing your homework. Philippe, as far as increasing the breeder community, aside from like siring the next breeder generation, do you mean the people or the birds? As far as the next human generation, Chris and I both have a mess of kids, and that's probably one of the reasons. And we're teaching them all about birds. And then Beck, I'll get to yours next. The only thing I can think of to like get people into it, and you don't necessarily have to do like a big YouTube channel like us, but I always, while still trying to follow like good hygiene practices, I always invite anybody who wants to come and see the birds. One, I feel like it makes me seem less crazy, because it's like if I just tell you I have 100 birds, you're gonna be like, that guy's a hoarder. But if you come here and see like my beautiful aviary, if I can get you out of the jungle here, like you'd like it better. Beck, Beino Society finch. Go ahead.
Hey, same thing as you, but we have every year now. And so every year we do things. When I hatch out a batch of button quail, because I usually do at least one every year, when the chicks are about 2 or 3 days old, we'll take them into the school and let all the students see them. And then also they've started to do field trips, and they come to my house and they do a tour of the aviary, and we usually have like a little treat and some things that they can give to the birds like Mikey and whatnot. So yeah, just trying to share and spread the awareness. Everybody at my work, they know it's funny, but they know me as Bird Nerd, and some of them have come over and looked at the birds and things like that. And just like Jay, it's hard when I tell them I have so many birds. It doesn't sound very good, but then when they come and see the setup and that it's awesome and it's clean, and I try to take care of my birds as best as I can, it actually makes them excited. And then they see the Gouldian finches or some of the more pretty ones, and they fall in love with them, and they start thinking about, man, that's really cool. I'd love to get a bird. I've had several people that have bought birds for the first time because of coming over and looking at my setup and whatnot. So Felipe, so just get the awareness out. What if you don't want to do social media like Jay and I do, that's totally fine. Just let people know if you ever hear bird topics come up, jump in, join in, and share some awesome things about it and get people excited. Because I think I agree with you. The younger generations, it's getting harder and harder. I think most of them are not interested in this sort of thing, and I don't want it to go to waste. So
Yeah, and another thing too, and I've done this before. If you've got a lot of birds, especially like some of the less expensive birds like zebras and societies, just give people pairs.
yeah,
You know, I'm not saying give somebody $1,000 worth of Gouldians, but I'm saying, if you can spare a pair of zebra finches, you got 10 pairs or whatever, give them a pair. If you want them to get started, the easiest way to get started is kind of sink or swim them, right? Like, all right, here you go. That's a great way to set up like a mentoring type situation. And you don't even have to give them to them forever. You can give them to them on loan. Say, look, any babies
yeah,
you make, you can keep. Give these birds back to me
yeah,
in 2 years.
yep.
Beck, as far as Cremino society finches having bad vision, that is a fairly common side effect, if you will, of
Yep.
those color mutations.
Yeah. So your
So
Bort creminos, your society creminos, your albinos, all of those will have
all the
vision
Enos, yeah,
issues.
which when you say Eno, you mean Cremino, Albino, Latino, all the
No.
INOs.
Yep.
Yeah, they can all have that issue. You didn't miss much, Charles. What's up? Um, those aren't. That's not like a thing that you can cure like that. It's not like anything you did wrong at all. The correct long term way to cure that is to breed Cremino with non Cremino birds, make splits, and then breed the splits back together. So just diversifying the gene pool more is what we'll do. What's up, Danny in West by God, Virginia? Country roads take me
Thanks
home.
for joining, Danny. Yeah, my favorite song.
Danny's got some of my dogs.
Awesome.
Oh. Just got buzzed by one of the
That's
mass
crazy.
grass finches.
He's just saying hi. At least he didn't poop on you. Gouldians are almost as numerous here as zebra finches. That's crazy. Yeah, that is not the case here. Yeah, I feel like Gouldian finches are becoming more and more common here in the United States, but definitely, I mean, they're still maintaining their price, if not even getting more expensive, unfortunately. And in the regions where I'm at, some of the cooler climates, Utah, like that central western United States that get really cold winters, the Gouldian finches are hard to come by because most people can't put setups like I have outdoors, and so it's just maybe a single pair in their home or something like that. And they're not breeding them enough to maintain some of those populations in those areas. You go to the outskirts of the United States where Jay's at, those warmer climates, they're a lot more common. But it's a special sight for me if I go to the pet store and they have a Gouldian finch in there, just because they're not as common.
Yeah, I mean, and they're still not common for me. Like in the United States, I would guess zebra finches are maybe a third of the total finch population, and then I bet society finches are maybe a quarter, and then all the other species are the rest of that, right? So yeah, it's not nothing. But Kelsey, if I were you, with your problem that you have, I would be like, hey, do you watch these channels? Like, I would try to nerd out with them and show them that you're not a cop or whatever. That maybe bring them a gift a bird gift or something. I don't know. That's what I would try to do.
Yeah, I'm curious to know what these new rules are. I mean, is it just you can't publicize it or something like that,
There's
or?
new licensing and ownership requirements in Spain, and I actually
Oh,
don't think I want her to talk further. I don't want her to type in the rules. I think as her non-lawyer, I wouldn't do that. But there's a difference between
Charles,
animal abuse and ridiculous government regulations that don't do anything.
for sure.
Yeah.
The Diskinder. Yeah, for sure.
That's what I'll say about that.
If I went outside to my aviary, I think I'd freeze. I think it's 31 degrees right now outside. I do have my windows up. You can see the windows right there. So the birds still go in and out. They enjoy it. But I'm sitting here right next to my heater, staying warm in my 65-degree shed. So
I'm going to go out on a limb and say Charles knows that.
yeah, I was gonna say, Charles, you're from Ohio.
Yeah, so he's right off the lake. He's just messing with you. But 25 degrees out. Yeah. Yeah, Beck, you are lucky. You're in one of the 3 like really good bird hotspots in the United States. One is Southern California, one is Southern Florida, and the other one's New York City. And of the 3, probably SoCal is the best one.
Yeah, I usually make my way out to SoCal at least once or twice a year. I'll have to hit you up next time I'm out there. I usually go to like Magnolia Bird Farm and see what birds they have there and things like that. I don't know how close you are to there, but we usually spend time in the LA area, and then every once in a while make our way down to San Diego. But
yeah, that's Southern California is so good that I occasionally search Southern California Craigslist for birds. And then
yeah,
make
really is.
Chris or Alex go get them for me. Figure that part out afterwards. Some of these mass grass finches I have are from Southern California, and so is my female parrotfin.
Nice.
And then actually, I guess some of my Gouldians too, but they came from Alex. So -2 Celsius is like 25-ish Fahrenheit. That's pretty cold.
I'm glad
I
you know
just
that,
know
Jay,
that
I don't know anything.
I guess it's a little higher than that. It might be like 28. Each Celsius degree is a couple degrees Fahrenheit. And I know that 0 is freezing. So she's a couple degrees below 32. So 27, 28. But yeah, Beck, I would let you know it's funny. Most of the people in this chat, or including Chris, I've taught how to ship. So
Yes.
yeah.
I have oh, Mike, are you gonna poop on me? Don't poop on me, bro. Come here.
Nicole's just used to me having dirty spots on my shoulders. At least you have hair. When they poop on my head, it's just on there.
I've had a couple times, because I usually feed the birds before work, and then I come back in. My wife's like, "Hey, you realize you got feathers on your head, right?" I'm like, "Yeah. Can you help me out?" Beck, yeah, I've gone to the Pomona Bird Fair the last 2 years, the one that they've had mid-summertime. So that's one of my favorite fairs to go to. They're probably one of the best bird exhibitions that I've been to as well, at least in the Western United States.
That's cool that you got into birds thanks to your grandmother. My mom, I give my mom the credit for getting into birds. Oh, Kelsey, we talked about Einstein before you got here. He's inside, like my house, because when I am in the outside part of the aviary, Einstein's cage is in there, and he tends to talk a lot when I'm doing that. And I thought it would be distracting for me. Actually, I kind of can't help but talk back to him, and then the whole podcast would just be.
You mean like what I've been doing to Mikey, even though he hasn't been saying anything? I'm
Yeah, but
trying to
it's
get him to
different.
speak a little bit
You're
more.
still
He's
paying
quiet
attention.
today.
I'd be like, you'd be talking, and I'd just be talking. It wouldn't be right. So.
I would agree. I mean, you guys all know my dad had birds before, so that's how I got into birds. I mean, I don't remember a time in my life that I have not had birds, except for maybe a couple years. But yeah, it's always been part
Yeah,
of my life, thanks
I
to my dad.
mean, with the exception of knock on wood, hopefully Einstein, I'll outlive all the current birds, but I'm hoping generations down from these birds, my kids will inherit them when I die. I'm not planning on getting rid of them.
Yeah.
So, and in fact, every time we house shop, which is very, very casually right now, but we got a lot of kids and we look at bigger houses from time to time. And I pretty much my only consideration is, okay, how would I do the aviary? Because if there's not a spot
Well,
for the aviary, might as well
there
X
has
out that link.
there has
Yeah.
to be a spot for the birds. That the birds
Yeah.
have become our children. So if there's not a spot for them, the house is a no go.
Man, my canary is really going for it.
That's awesome.
This
My
one
males are
house, it's like,
starting. They're starting
go
to
on.
start singing a little bit as we get through winter. I'm hoping here in the next month and a half they'll start singing more and more. So
He molted a little bit early, so he'll be ready. I'll probably give him a nest like mid-February, maybe the end of
yeah,
January. But we have this one house. It's like our dream house that we look at sometimes. And it's got a big back deck that's built on a hill. So the bottom floor in the front, in the back is the second story. It's got this big deck, and all I would have to do to make like a Tony Arnold sized aviary is just fence off the sides of the deck. So one day I'll be able to get that one. But I'm still trying to convince Nicole to let me just make this one bigger. You know how it goes.
see that you kind of cut out a little bit. You're trying to convince Nicole
To,
what?
to let me make this aviary bigger.
Yeah,
But
we could at least make it taller. No.
I could go taller, but that doesn't really
Yeah.
help me a ton. What I want to do is out front where it goes past the shed, I want to wrap that around so I could have 3 open windows instead of just the one. And
Yep.
it wouldn't show in the backyard, but I'd get an extra like 6 feet of floor space. Gives me a couple more pairs.
Jay, just catching up on comments. Looking at it here, Kelsey, glad you decided to choose birds over hamsters. Go with the budgies. Budgies are a
I've
lot of
bred
fun.
hamsters
If
too. I
budgies,
like hamsters.
oh, did you? Yeah, I love budgies. They're actually one of my favorite. I have. We kind of aviaries. Jay and I would love to hit you up on that one. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. It's kind of refreshing and reconnecting. Hopefully,
Yeah,
we're
you
I'm
broke up,
staying
but not
connected with
too
you guys.
badly. Yeah, Charles, we're all in the same
Okay.
boat. You're welcome to be in on the how should I build my aviary conversations. That's one of my absolute favorite ones. Kelsey and I have had that a bunch. Oh, you've got I didn't know Charles has a beardy too.
Yeah.
And the axolotls. Axolotls are cool. I've had one before too. They are freaky looking though.
Charles, my boy has a bearded dragon. Weeks old, so just got him as a tiny baby, and he's huge now. But animals and inside the so the birds stay
If I
outside.
was a single guy, I would have just a bird room. I would just put a drain in the middle of the floor and say, screw it.
Uh-huh. Love it. When I went to Hawaii, I saw a large group of oh my gosh, like around the beach. I was looking for whales because it was whale season, and she's like, "Are you like gonna pay attention to anything else besides animals?" You know, so I had to restrain myself a little bit. So
Um, Aladdin, I do not have chickens, and I do not have any plans to get chickens because of where I live. Um, and the mess that I'd have to like have one of those moving chicken coops that you move around your yard. I don't, I'm not set up for chickens. I would have them if I was. Um,
and I actually sold my chickens. So I had four. I had the little bantam, the Sarama bantams, and a lady come and she was like, "I love your chicken." She had a property, and in the wintertime, I would have to keep the birds in here for most of the time, and they're kind of stinky because they're chickens. And so I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's send them to a better place. They'll have a ton of land to roam around on, and so she actually came and bought them from me. So I don't have chickens anymore, but I loved my chickens. They were a lot of fun. My kids loved them. They were tame. They would follow us around the yard, especially if we had like mealworms or anything like that. It was pretty fun.
yeah, and Beck, I see you talking about spice finches. Um, I meant to mention that, and Philippe, I'm going to answer your question too. In the United States, in most states, not all, check your local laws. If an animal is invasive, and it can be legally kept. It is legal to catch wild ones and then keep them. Um,
Yeah,
as long as
yeah.
it's legal to keep them. Like in Florida, a lot of the invasive species are illegal. So if you catch an invasive one, you're not allowed to keep it. But in Alabama, you can. And Beck, I just found out from the lady who's on boarding that we have a wild spice finch colony in Mobile. And it's actually she has a flock of about 50 that are breeding in the trees at her house. So I told her, I was like, any you catch, let me know. There are some big risks to doing that. You really have to deworm, you have to really treat for a lot of different medications, and you have to do a really long quarantine. Like I would consider doing as long as like a 6-month quarantine, and treating multiple rounds of different medications, just because that's a big concern. What have they been exposed to from wild birds? But it is allowed.
Around. I have seen some parrots flying around when I've been in the California area, especially on the close to the beach, things like that. Pretty cool.
Yeah, there,
But yeah, I've
Texas.
heard there's quite a few wild populations of finches in the LA area, San Diego area, and then obviously Florida, southern Florida.
Texas too. Texas has wild orange weavers, wild budgies. Um,
Wild budgies,
yeah,
huh?
wild
Interesting.
Indian ringnecks, and something else cool too that I'm blanking on. But they have quite a few different wild populations of invasive species. And I think New York City at times has wild budgies. In
I
fact,
think
my
up in the
friend,
New York area, they have a bunch of wild Quakers, don't they? I think they're like to the point where they have to like clear out their nests because they are clogging up power lines and things like that.
yeah, and they can, New York City, there's enough like warm air vents and stuff where they don't freeze to death. They can adapt and survive out there, which is pretty crazy. But my friend Karen, who's she's got 2 bird Instagrams, but the funny one is the parakeet pet detective. So, or the Parakeet Detective Agency or something like that. Maybe it's the Parakeet Detective Agency, the PDA, and she gets people to send her like sightings, like, hey, I saw a budgie in Central Park near here, and she'll go try to catch them and take them to the vet and then rehome them. So there are people out there that are doing this for basically the right reasons. Yeah, thousands of wild Indian ringneck and red-fronted Amazons here. I'd love to show you guys the roosting ground someday, but it's really crazy how much there are around here. Yeah, I'm sure there are. There's
Aladdin,
not very many.
I did see the ringnecks when we went to Hawaii. We were in Honolulu, the beach.
And yeah, the Pasadena one too, Beck. That's really interesting. They the rumor. I wrote my senior thesis on invasive species in the Everglades, and this is not something anybody can ever prove, and I don't necessarily know if I believe it. I think it was more likely that just people were just releasing large animals they couldn't keep anymore. But there's a rumor that in Hurricane Andrew in 1992, I think, when it hit kind of the Tampa, Central Florida area, South Florida area, it took out some reptile breeding facilities, like large ones that bred for like PetSmart and big box pet stores, and all those animals got loose and caused that problem down there. I think that's certainly not the whole problem. And, I mean, that's also what happened with lionfish in the Caribbean too. So we have to be careful as humans with exotic pets. You have a responsibility to not have them get loose.
Arizona has a
I think we should get ready to wrap this up. This is a really fun first live. Chris is frozen for me at the moment. Your audio's good, but this is, we hadn't done this before. We talked about how we do it. We decided we'd just go ahead and dive in. And this has been really great. I think we'll schedule some more with more advanced notice in the future, but really appreciate y'all hopping on. Want to do a quick shout out for New Zealand. Please go order New Zealand stuff. Use code BirdBrains.
Yes, please.
10% off your order. Get yourself the BirdBrains perch box. You can get merch when you buy merch for the podcast.
And I've got our merch tagged to this video, so you guys should see it down below as well.
That's what pays for, like, we have to pay for the podcast stuff and all that. That's what we're using the merch stuff for. So buy some merch in time for Christmas. And Charles, no, you don't want to see me live stream clean the aviary because it's just my plumber's track half the time. I filmed a video a while back and I did post it, but there's a video of me cleaning the aviary and how I do it, like a long form one. And I had to delete about half of it because every time I turned around, I was giving everybody a show.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, y'all.
Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all, and happy holidays. And we'll have to do some more of these here soon.
All right. Catch y'all on the next one.
See you guys.